Welcome everyone. This is Mr. McGarry's Teaching Vids. Don't laugh, but I'm wearing a Christmas jumper with anchors on it, going to my nephew's birthday. So I said I'd bring a bit of festive cheer. Anyway, this video is going to help a lot of students and maybe even parents alike. Anyone that wants to know a bit of the basics of computers, it's going to help you. It's primarily targeted at LCA computers, but it'll help loads of different students and people. So here we go. So I'm going to talk about just turning on. I have a keyboard here to show you as well. So as we turn on the computer, it's maybe not so obvious for some people, but you need to click the button once, and that's the on-off button, which you usually see it as green or red down the bottom on the actual mainframe of the computer itself. The monitor is the screen. Okay, and the mainframe is your big block of computer if you're dealing with a PC. If you're dealing with a laptop, obviously it's all in one. And then if you're dealing with an iPad, it's also all in one. Okay, so you have the screen and the computer component parts all part of the one device when you have a laptop and an iPad. Whereas when you have a PC, you have different parts. So you've got like the screen, which is called the monitor. You've got the mainframe of the computer, or some people call it the tower of the computer. You'll see it looks like a tower, and there'll be a big on button there on it. And sometimes you only have to click it once. If you hold it down for a long time, it'll shut the whole computer down without shutting down properly. So that's bad for the computers. So if you just click it once, you'll find the computer will come back to life. If it doesn't, you press these three buttons here. You press Control, Alt, and Delete. Okay, and delete on this little keyboard is a little bit awkward, but it's over on there. Okay, so Control, Alt, and Delete. So I'd start from the left. I usually click that, then that, and then I finally click that one. And then when you click that, you'll get a menu that comes up on the screen. We'll do it here on my iPad as well. So I'm working from an iPad. So it's in the exact same position there. And then you'll see you can either lock the computer down, you can switch user, which means you don't have to shut the computer down, which takes time for the next student coming in. It just means you can switch to the next user. And then signing out means no one can access your account and they don't have your password. And Task Manager then we click on. So you'll see with Task Manager, you're able to see the different types of software that you've recently opened on your PC. And then you can click into it to get into it. It's a quick way basically of getting into what you were in last. So that's turning on the computer. So yeah, just click it once. And then if that doesn't work, click Control Alt Delete and then basically put in your username and password. School often uses a school email followed by a password, and students are recommended to write that in their journals. So that's very important to write your username and password down. If you're turning on an iPad, well, you all know how to do that. I've seen you all. It's straightforward enough. And the laptop's the same. There's a button on the top left of the iPad. Just click that once if it's been on or asleep. But if it needs to turn on for the first time, you need to hold it for a little bit longer. Okay, and then opening, closing, and saving files. So if you want to open files, we save a lot of our tasks in our Gdrives. Okay, that's a saving space built by Google. Okay, so on your computer, rather than with Google, which is on a cloud, which means it doesn't save directly to your device, it saves with Google themselves. So when you click on the yellow folder, it's Windows 10 I'm working off. A lot of our computers are working off Windows 10. Okay, some of them will be Windows 7 as well. Just be aware of that. And what that means is it's the operating system. So it operates everything on the computer. So the layout of the computer, for example, looks like this in Windows 10, whereas it might look a little bit differently when you're in Windows 7. Okay, and it's manufactured by or made by Microsoft, and it's what all the other things run off. Okay, so the computer couldn't run without an operating system. Okay, so it's inbuilt into the computer at manufacturing stage. Back to what we were talking about. So opening, closing, and saving files. So they usually have a yellow folder in there. If not, you can find in there and look for storage, or type in storage here, or type in your C drive A lot of people have a C drive on their computers. Just be aware while we're talking about that as well, you'll also have networks. So in school, you have a student network, which is different to your own personal space on your own personal computer. It's a place where students can save stuff. It's accessible by management, and also it can be seen on any computer. So it's the other thing then is there's a teacher network, and again we can access our teacher drives, which is saving space on any computer throughout the school. So it means all the computers in the school are connected to each other, and that means being on a network. When you go into your files, you'll see there's some of the files I've been messing around with there. So you'll see that the earliest ones come up at the top, and it's important to look at dates. And then when you're on the computer, it's also very important to look up here, because it tells you where your computer's going. So first of all, these files are found on this PC, then you go into the C drive, then click users, and then click down this number here, and then click downloads. Often you won't have that number there. It's because this is a new enough laptop that's there. So then downloads, then you just click on, and that's where you find most of your downloads, where they'll automatically save down to. So that's where things are saved on the PC. Yeah, C drive. Okay, so that's usually just your main saving space on your personal computer. Okay, so moving on then to the G drive. The G drive then, I already had open earlier on. So your G drive has G Docs on it. Okay, so that's Google Docs. So if I go into the easiest way to access your all your G drive and your Schoology and everything is just to go into the school website, click on that. And then when you go in there, you'll see there you have all your apps available to you. So you can go straight into your Schoology from there. You can go straight into your G drive from there. Okay, so if I click on G drive there, for example, it should bring me to my own G drive that's with the school. Yeah, so I'd have a private Gmail address, and then I'd have a school Gmail address. Yeah, and it's tied to your email. Okay, so my private email will be the same username and password I use to access my G drive on my private account. And then this is my school account. And then you just click on the three dots to find all the different apps. You know, apps from your phone. It's the same idea, all the different apps that you can access through your account with Google, because Google owns a lot of things. So Google owns G Drive. They own all of these things. They own Google Meet. They own Google Sites, Google Forms. They also own obviously Gmail, that's Google Mail. And then, so all those things. YouTube as well, by the way, is owned by Gmail. Google Maps obviously is owned by Gmail. Google Photos, Hangouts, and the rest. Yeah, so that's where you find all your apps for your Gmail account. Okay, it's always .com for your own username and an account with Google. And then with the school, you'll have a .ie username and password. That's for mostly for your PC and for your individual username and password, but it's not connected to your Google account unless you've set it up to be connected. You'll see I create a lot of folders in my drive to try and organize myself. So when you right click, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so if you hover over here, there's different parts of the screen that you can click and you can get a new folder. But just to be aware that when you're clicking on the folders themselves, you're not going to get the same options. So right click and experiment with the right click until you find the right place. Okay, so I just hovered over that, right clicked, and now it gives me the options to open up new folders, upload files from the PC, where I was telling you from the C drive, upload folders. You can as well. You can open up your Google Docs, your Google Sheets. Google Docs, the same as Microsoft Word, only Google is made by Google, and Word is made from Microsoft. Google Sheets, again, it's made by Google. You've Microsoft Excel is a competitor to them. And then you've got PowerPoint, which is made by Microsoft PowerPoint, and a competitor for them is Google, so Google Slides. Okay, and you've more there as well. Okay, so other Google apps. Okay, so I want to just set up a new folder. So if you're setting up a folder for VPG, say vocational preparation and guidance, it's very simple. Just click that and create. Now, the trick then to having all your files saved into the right places, click on it, and then open right. What I did there was I clicked on the white space, and often it is the white space you use a lot for right click. And then when you right click on the white space, you can open up your Google Doc blank document from there, and it'll automatically save. That's the beauty of using Gdrive as well. It'll automatically save into that area because we're opening in that area. It'll save in that area. Same if we were to open a Google slideshow, which we use a lot in class as well, and Google Sheets, which we will be using a lot of. Find a file, you just type it in there, or a folder. So if we go back into Drive, remember this is back to Drive. This one here is my shared drives with other teachers in the school. If other teachers or students want to share stuff with me, it'll come in there. Have a look at that. So you see there's loads of things shared with me from loads of different students, all my various classes. Your most recent files will come up there. Starred files will come up there, and then back into your My Drive. So My Drive then is where your folders are. So if you're struggling to find your folder, you just go VPG and enter, and you'll see I have loads of VPG folders over the years. That's why that's like that, but you'd usually only have the one there. Okay, so that's My Drive, and that's Google Drive. Okay, so we'll go back now to the Google Doc, which has some of my headings on it. So turn on the computer, iPad, and my laptop. That's covered. And again, if there's more questions, just ask me in class. We obviously might skip something or might miss something here, but obviously I'm delighted when you ask more and more questions in class, so keep that going. And then opening, closing, and saving files. So we opened one, yeah. We closed one, yeah. Well, you just click close, and it saves automatically, and it saves automatically. Control-Alt-Delete, we dealt with. Connection of input devices. Yeah, so when you're in the computer room in school, if any mouse has been plugged out from a previous class, or any keyboard's been plugged out, say, you'll see that there's a thing called cable that has a finish on it, and it's called USB. We're going to look at connection of input devices. So connection of input devices, just be aware when you go into the computer room from the school, in case a previous class had taken out a mouse connection or a keyboard connection. The mouse won't be working if it's plugged out, okay? And the keyboard won't be working if it's plugged out. So always check to make sure the USB cables are plugged into the USB ports at the back of the computer for both the mouse and the keyboard, because oftentimes it's a simple problem to overcome. And also some students, when they see a screen and they see it not working, they might think there's something major wrong. Sometimes that's not plugged in, and in the monitor, just underneath the monitor, there's a plug that gets plugged in underneath that as well. Just make sure that's plugged in all the way in, and then the screen should be on. And then, as I showed you before, go Control-Alt-Delete or press the on button once, and then you'll see the screen come to life for you again. Okay, so moving on. So that's connection of input devices. You have a lot of input devices. You have a mouse, which is obviously the cursor, moves around the screen, helps move the cursor around the screen. And then you have also your keyboards for typing in words and numbers and letters into your computer. So that's an input device as well. And as you see, we do a slideshow on about computers and all the descriptions of hardware and input devices, and all of that are in that presentation as well, which we do group work on, and then we'll be presenting. So and then we can go through all that stuff again a second time there as well. Okay, so the Gdrive we spoke about. When you want to share a Gdrive file somewhere else, you need to understand how to use links. So if I go back into my Gdrive and just say I want to share that folder with Mr. McGarry, I'd go right click, I'd click share. Next step, then I'd make sure that the file is open. So see where it says restricted? That means I won't be able to access it. So you'd have to have that, if you want to get graded, you'd have to have that changed from, see the way I just clicked on that there? And then you click on anywhere around here, or this little arrow, and then you click on anyone with this link. And now you see the link goes green. And links just mean they bring you straight to a web page, an online web page. So if you just copy the link there, also you can give me control over editing as well. So it means I can help and give feedback as well. So if you want that, that's important to click there as well. Okay, so, and then click done there. Now, next thing is to go back into Schoology. And the way you find your Schoology account is go back into our website and click on Schoology. So that's the quickest way, because you know that you're set up with your username, automatically feed it in. Okay, so when you're in Schoology, then what you want to look for is you want to look for our course. And our course then, I have a lot of courses, as you can see. So we named one of them after a student. So to make it easier for you to find. So there it is there for one of the classes. Okay, so when we click on that there, you need to go into materials. So as soon as you get into our course, then you click on materials, right? And you'll see in materials then that the very last item that's at the bottom of materials is usually the last key assignment that I've put up. And you'll also see that there's a title, and you need to make sure that title's on the work you submit. That says Key Assignment 3, Work Experience 2. And then I've got a description. I've broken down the Department of Education descriptions into easier language for you so that you know what to do. And then I've pointed in the right direction then on updates with where to find the resources to be able to do it as well. Okay, so so if I was submitting work, say to that one, I'd click on the title. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you the full way here because I'm the teacher. I need to be a student to be able to do it. But what happens is on the top right then, on the top right, it says submit assignment. See, when you submit or resubmit, you can resubmit and it'll update your old one. When you click on that, there's another phase on your iPad. It's a large wide arrow on the top right that you click on. On the PC, you just click on it, and then there's a tab called Create. And when you click on that tab Create, there's a link button. And a link button is very similar. It looks a little bit like your number 8 symbol. So look out for that, click on that, and then paste the link, and then put a title on it. And then click Insert, and then click Submit. And then that'll send as a link straight to me into my database on Schoology, which means I can double click on it and open and correct your homework based on success criteria. Yeah. And the success criteria are content, creativity, communication skills, organization skills, and computer skills. Okay, so that's a computer skill in itself to be able to do that. And again, we can give individual help and go back over that again in class. Okay, so right, next thing on the list, let's have a look. So Gdrive, Schoology, okay. In updates in Schoology, obviously that's where you need to be clicking on there on updates as well to see what messages teachers are leaving, and then click on like then to sort of proof there that the teacher's message has been seen. Google Docs, and again Google Docs was found when we go into our Gdrive, and just be aware sometimes there's a Google Docs app, and sometimes you can be brought into the Google Docs app, and that can cause confusion because you then have to click back into your Gdrive sometimes to find your folders, find where did you want to save or open files from. So just be aware of that there's a Google Docs app as well, and then what it does, it gives you a list of all the Google Docs documents that you were working off, but you won't see any of your Google Slides, you won't see any of your other apps like Google Sheets and that. So you need to go back into your My Drive to find your folders and to help with your organization. So in order to do a new Google Docs, you just click New, and again, you'd be putting it into the creating a folder and then putting it into it. There's Google Docs, you can just open it there, but the best way is to actually not open it from there. The best way is to open it when you're actually in the folder, because it'll then save in the folder. So just go New, New, and then go Google Docs, create share. Yeah, because I've already set it to open share. make sure we put a title on things. Very, very important. Key assignment 2, work experience, for example. Yeah, and then you can star that file if you want to make it easier to find. You don't need to save it because it'll be saved automatically. And yeah, and then you can share it. There's a button up here for sharing as well. But if your folder is shared, you might not need to, like, if you've shared the link, the teacher can access all of the items in your folder. But if the teacher wants you to send in files individually because they want to give you individual grades on each assignment, you click share on that. And again, you make sure that it's set to open and it's green. And if it's not, you click there, it's on editor, great, copy that link. And then the same process, go into Schoology and paste that link to Schoology and submit to the teacher. Okay, so moving onwards and upwards. We've got then Gdrive, Schoology, Learn Outcomes for, okay, we'll concentrate on these first, and then we'll go to Learn Outcomes for ICT, Information Communications Technology and Computers. So remember, ICT stands for Information Communications Technology, which is another word for computers as well. Only it talks about the internet and how we manage information online and on our PCs. So it's more broad, perhaps, yeah. Okay, so bold, underline, italics. So if we want to put a title on something, and we should always put titles on something, we call this the basics of computers. Now, for professionals, what we do is we say we work on Google or we have our own websites, etc. Like I have, you need to be aware that there's different formats and heading sizes. So most headings should come under 14. If you've got a particularly big heading, it'll be 16, then 14, and then your text is usually 12 and should go in that order. So the likes of this text here should be 12, okay? And there's reasons for that. The Google web crawlers pick up good formatting and good headings. And so it's good to get into good habits on that, especially if you ever want to set up your own business online, etc., which is the way a lot of things are going. So Times Roman numeral is one of the most professional and widely used fonts, they're called. So there are different types of writing, but there's different types. Arial is another very common, popular one there as well. There's another one specific to Google. We won't go into now, but this is fine for now. Okay, so you've got the title then 14, and if you had other titles underneath that, you might have gone with 16 and then 14, then 12. But this one, if you want to bold that, you put bold. So that's all you do. You highlight it. The way you highlight it is just click and drag. And if you want to underline it, you do the same there. If you want an italics, just changes slant to the words is all that means. So that's, you need to be able to do those skills for LCA. So the other thing is bullet points. So to create bullet points, again, highlight all your items and come in here and see there's two different types of bullet points. If you want them numbered, use that one. If you just want normal bullet points, you can do it that way. And it immediately looks more professional, okay, neat and organized. So if you want to get rid of one, you can do that as well. Okay, so that's bold, underline, italics, and titles and headings. Okay, and yes, you know, the title, it doesn't put it in automatically for you unless sometimes you highlight one, sometimes it can then as well. Let's just be aware of that, but always click up here and put in what you want the file to be called there. If you want to start, you can as well. Okay, so moving on then to the learning outcomes. Let's have a look. So this is specific to LCA then. Okay, so understand and explain the key concepts relating to information communications technology and computers. Okay, so that's covered in our presentations about computers. The big main ones again will be browsers. What are they? Well, there's your browser there. You've got that's Google Chrome browser. Now, this computer, when I bought it, was set up for Microsoft Edge, but I had to not set that as a default browser. And I wanted Google Chrome as my browser, so I use Gdrive, and school uses Gdrive a lot. Okay, so it's browsers. And then you have things called hardware and software. Hardware is anything you can touch the monitor, which is the screen, the tower, which is the main part of the computer, the mouse, the keyboard. They're all inputs and they're hardware as well. And they're some of the main components of the computer. So that's one of the concepts, are the components and the different parts. And then I suppose networking, which we spoke about, drives. I suppose on the point of drives, if you wanted to connect a printer up, sometimes just plug it in with the USB cable to the printer. And if you have a newer type laptop or computer, it'll automatically input the drivers for you. But if not, you'll have to go to the website, say of HP, if that's your printer like mine, and you'll have to find a driver and download it, because hardware like that needs drivers to be able to link your computer to your piece of hardware. Okay, so right, next on the list then, explain key concepts related to computers and information. Okay, so again, a lot of that will be done in about computers. Number 2, understand and explain the key concepts relating to devices, software, storage, and software. Okay, well, software is all the applications. So you start with a browser like Google Chrome, and then within that you can have applications. So for example, here you'll see I'm working off Zoom application. So I'll have a Zoom. I've also this editing software here as well. And I have Office, and they're all different apps within the Microsoft Office range. So Microsoft Word, I can see from that symbol, that's Microsoft Spreadsheets, that's PowerPoint, and that's OneDrive. OneDrive is a competitor, by the way, for Gdrive, where you can save stuff onto a cloud, in other words, save with Microsoft. Okay, so understand and explain devices. Then devices are, well, you can have a video camera, for example. You can have a separate microphone that you plug in. You could have headphones that you plug into your PC or laptop. And you'll see the symbol in the form of the headphones when you're plugging in your headphones. Okay, so and headphones are not allowed in the school. So we're talking about more at home if you need to watch a YouTube video or this or what have you, with the headphones on. Okay, so understand and explain key concepts. The storage, then, you have different ways of storing things, files. In other words, you have your G drive, you have your OneDrive, which we just spoke about. You also can save right down to your PC, which is called PC storage, and your C drive. And you have another option, you can save onto your student network. So that's a network specially built by the school for yourselves that you can save stuff onto as well. Okay, so that's devices, storage. Devices just means things that you connect up to your computer. And then software is just anything you can't physically touch, like the inputs and the hardware. It's the opposite of that. It's like the apps and all the different icons that you see, all the different things within a computer. That's all your software. Demonstrate an ability to use basic computer functions effectively. Okay, so we might go through a little bit on that now. So we'll just show you the keyboard. Okay, so this is like a common keyboard. This looks a little bit different because of the screen, but it's more or less the same. Okay, so here you'll see we said Control, Alt, and Delete help you to switch users, shut down, power off, all sorts of different things. But also you have this escape button, which means if you want to escape a particular screen, escape something you're out of, you click that and escape out of it. A tab key is a really important key for moving from box to box. And it's located just where it is there. It has an arrow on our own PCs in the school and on our laptops. You'll see an arrow going left and right. And it's the only button that you see with a left and right arrow on it. And when you click on that, you'll see it's a great way of moving between boxes and tables, and rather than skipping it. It gets messy. When you're not using it, sometimes the screens will skip up and down. You'll see it's annoying. So the tab key is very, very, very useful key there. The caps lock, then, if you click that, that means all the things you're going to type, all these are going to turn into capital letters, okay? And they'll keep going on as capital letters until you click it off. Now, if you want to use, if you don't like having caps lock on, just say the password just in your first letter is a capital. You can just click hold the shift key. So on your PCs in school, you just hold that key down there. What it'll look like in your PCs in school is like, it's like a big arrow pointing upwards underneath the caps lock. So when you click on that and then click on a letter, it'll give you that letter in capitals. And then after that, it'll just go back to small letters. Okay, and then this FN just stands for function. And what that does is when you click on it, it means you can get the functions on top of the main button. So see the way you've got buttons along there, and on a PC and my laptop, you'll also have F1, F2, F3, F12. So when you click on the function button, you can get the function buttons to work for you. So all those 12 F buttons at the top have different functions. And when you click on each one, it'll give you different options for each one. Okay, so yeah, so what else then? So this gives you your windows. In other words, that's your same as this. It pops up all your different apps and pieces of software on your PC. And then you also have the space bar. You know, that does give spaces, and enter, delete. Yeah, that's for one delete. If you wanted to go control all, okay. So on your PC, you'd hold that down and then hold down your A, okay? And then what would happen is your whole document would get highlighted because it stands for controlling all of the words in your document. So whatever's on it, if you go control and then A, it'll highlight everything, okay? Now, if you wanted to copy everything, you go control and C. If you wanted to then paste it somewhere else, you go control and V, okay? Yeah, if you want to cut it, it's control and X if you want to cut it out. But I'd say copy is your easiest one, because control and C in case you do something wrong. Okay, so that's that. Is there anything else there important? If you want to shift up between pages, page up and page down. If you want to go back to your original page, just here in a long document, maybe a report, and there's 100 pages on it, you want to get back quickly to the start. If you want to go to the end of it, you go there. If you want to print screen, you can go Control Alt Print Screen, and it'll take a picture of the screen you're on. So when you're working on job search, say looking up advertisements for new jobs and new employers, and to prove that you were looking up those jobs, you go Control Alt and Print Screen to get a screenshot basically of your screen. Be like on your phone when you press the button to the side and hold, and it'll give you a screenshot. Okay, so is there anything else there? Help, no matter what you have to do, you can type in there. For example, if you were looking for mouse settings, just go mouse, and then immediately you get change your mouse settings up there. So any settings you need or anything you need to change in your PC or find, you can type in there. Introduction to word processing. So word processing is basically, you can use Google Docs, or you can use your Microsoft Word. We use a lot of Google Docs in the school because we're set up with that for saving and posting, etc. So the student will be able to create documents and understand where to save them. So we've done that. We've created a document on Google Docs, and we've showed you where to save them. Work with a word processing document. Apply different formats. That just means bold, titles, underline. Insert tables and images. Okay, so insert tables and images, we'll just show you that then. So to insert image, just go into image, insert, and then image. Now you need to save it onto your computer first to be able to upload it, right? Or you can search the web, right? So, okay, so the other thing to be aware of here is images nowadays have a lot of copyright on them. So you have to be careful what you're actually downloading. Yeah. So, okay, so then double click on that. We scroll down, then we'll see, yeah, so the image comes in, and then when you want to edit that image down, you have these little, you click in the center of it, and then all these boxes pop up, and then you're able to edit it. And again, play around with different things, and you'll see where that image is moving to the right of the text is getting moved around. Okay, so you can have an option of moving with text, fixed position on the page. What that would mean is if you fix the image on the page, it means that no matter where you put different things, it'll keep these connected. So in other words, the text and words won't start coming on the bottom and the left and the right. It'll keep organized for you. It's a bit like when you go control group, when you're in Word shapes and PowerPoint shapes, and it keeps the shapes together rather than moving them around from screen to screen. And that's by just clicking on the image, control, clicking on the text or two shapes, and then also going right click group, and that'll connect things together. So connect objects with text, etc. Oh yeah, insert tables. So insert tables, you click insert first, then you look for table. So second one down, and you can see here, that's basically the rows by the columns. Okay, so you've got 3 rows by 3 columns. It gives you an actual image there. I don't know if you can see, it's light blue, but if we want to do a table, say 4, I mean, a common one would be maybe 3 columns by 4 rows. Yes, that's what that's it. So there we go. And then if you wanted to turn this top one into a title, or you can right click. Okay, so insert, so you can insert rows above there, by the way, and below as well. And you can add columns left and right to it there as well. Okay, move down. Yeah, so that's delete row, merge cells. Yeah, that was the one I was looking for there. So merge cells is that one. Okay, so now you see it's got rid of the lines. So you can now title this. Okay, we said titles, maybe put them in around a 14 or a 16. Okay, and you can bold that then, and whatever title you have, you put title your table could go in there. Okay, and then this will be column 1. This will be C2, column 2, and this will be C3, C3. And then you can add as much information as you want then. Now again, the downward arrow, which is on the keyboard here, it's that one there. That can flick you down on tables, or you can just click on it. Okay, and then remember the tab key we talked about, this one, that can move you between your boxes nice and quickly as well for typing stuff into. Okay, so that's tables. Again, it's just the basics of tables. We'll be doing it in more detail in class, but that should help in your way if you'd spelled it wrong. Okay, what you can do is you can right click, usually it'll underline it in red, so it's great for literacy and grammar. So you just right click it, and it'll give you what did you mean? Did you mean computer? Yes, I did. And you just click on it and it'll change your spelling. So that's handy to know. Or if you want to do the whole document, you could go into tools and you could click spelling and grammar, check. And then it'll go through any words it finds that it thinks are wrong. And it's saying, will we change luring here to learning? And yeah, I want that. Now, if it's an abbreviation that the computer doesn't understand, or an Irish word, for example, you might just ignore it, but or a Gaelic word. But I'm accepting that, and that's changed then the and then this one it doesn't understand because that was just gobbledygook there that I put in. Okay, so we'll ignore that. And then computer spelled wrong is telling us that, and we accept that. So before you hand in any document to any teacher, make sure you go to tools and you go into spelling and grammar, or right click under the red underlined words. And it sometimes comes in green, just, you know, if it's bad grammar, and it'll give you some grammar suggestions on that as well. Red's usually for spelling mistakes. If you want to have a look what way the document's going to look before you print it, well, let's just press print for a minute. So this will give you a preview of what your page is going to look like. So that's important before you print it, to actually look at it and see how many pages it's going to print. And when you're printing, make sure that's set to 1. And then also you can have down here, you can have how many pages per sheet. And in the Prints in the School, you have an option there, printing front and back of the paper as well, which helps save paper. And pages, this is one of the most important ones. You're better off changing that on any machine you're on, laptop, PC, whatever, to custom, and then put in the page number. So go, I only want to print page 1 to 2. So just say that's only one page I created there. But just say I had 2 or 3 pages. It'll just print off those 3 pages, because, you know, if If you just leave it at, the reason that's coming up red is because I've only one page, okay? It's saying you only have one, okay? So, but if that's better because it just stops printing after two pages, right? So you know you're not going to waste loads of school paper. And because sometimes you might have loads of blank pages after and you might not realize the next thing that the printer's printing out loads of stuff that doesn't need to. Okay, so I'd always keep that away from all, and I'd always click custom and then just put in the amount of pages, 1 to 10 or whatever it might be that you want to print, and then you click print and away you go. Canceling that, if you want to set up your page so that you can fit more into it, you're trying to save paper maybe as well. Sometimes these margins, that means that the top of the page has a gap of 0.5 inches, and then the right and left hand side, see of the writing and the image is 0.5, but you can set that down lower if you want. 5 is all right, but sometimes you might have bigger gaps here. You might want to change that. Okay, so just have a look at that before you print. And then do you want black and white, or do you want it to print in color? And that's important too. Okay, and if you want a landscape, just turns the page around. Okay, so it's going to print it side by side, whereas that's up and down. If you want to put in a page break to let the printer know that you're finished the page and moving on to another page, you can go Control Enter, okay, or you can click this break and then put in page break or section break, and it'll bring you to the next page. Okay, so we'll just try that now. So in there. So now it's bringing on to the next page, okay? And just say you wanted to type, which doesn't want to use the whole page, but you want to print off separate. Again, go Control Enter. Okay, and it'll bring you down to the next page. Okay, so that's how you do page breaks. And that can be important for just moving your documents through the right amount of documents for printing, and making sure it finishes at the right part, and that you know where it's finished, so that you can keep it neat, tidy and organized. When you look at different file types, you want to be looking at what different ending comes at the back and end of your file. Okay, so you'll see here's an example of my files. You've got an XML file there. You've got a HTML file there. That's like a web page. You've got a JPEG here, and you've different types of files for pictures. JPEG is one of the more common ones. And then you've also got audio files. And if I had an audio file clip saved there, it'd be called .mp3 or .mp4 files. So they'd be audio files. And then these files here are just application files. Okay. Now, the likes of your normal file, that's more advanced, really. You don't really need to know much about that, but as just an introduction. But if you wanted to check your normal files that you'd be saving, your Google Docs would end in .doc, XLS, yeah. And then, as far as I remember, for the PowerPoint ones, it's PPT. Yeah, that is it, PPT. And then .doc are files for your word processing files. And remember, you'd be looking for colors as well. So green files, when you're saving your spreadsheets, you'll see them as little green icons beside them. And orangey looking files for your Google's, your PowerPoints and your Google Slides, and then blue colored icons for your Google Docs and your Microsoft Words. Okay, so hopefully that helpful. Yeah, so that's spreadsheets are like Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets, which we haven't done yet. We'll be doing those files will be finishing with .xls. Now, students will be able to understand the concepts and associated risks of the internet and the World Wide Web. Okay, well, it's very important to know about the risks of the World Wide Web. Don't put any of your personal details up on the web. Your location, you can turn that off, location settings, and also just don't give personal information. And when you have passwords, change them up regularly and make them difficult. Don't have them as your date of birth and your I don't know, your address or something. Don't have that's kind of common. Have something that's kind of unusual with symbols and capitals and mixed batch of numbers and letters, etc. Yeah, and just be aware that when you post something up online, people can record it and then shared on with loads of other people, and that can lead to serious problems for legal repercussions and everything. So be careful of that one too. But yeah, just I suppose keep everything professional. That's the most important thing. So use a web browser and manage settings. Okay, so web browser is the one I'm using here, is Google Chrome. Okay, now so in Google Chrome then, I have a few different things set up in Google Chrome. But if you want to go into these three dots up here, you'll find different tabs where you can do different things. So your history is in there for your history of what you've been on Google Chrome. See all my history stuff there, business and my maps and all sorts of different things. So, and then if you want to change the size of the screen that we're looking at currently, you can do it there. Okay, so it's handier just leave it at 100 though, because things start moving off the screen, etc. If you want to print from the screen, you can there. If you want to cast, just save a Google Chromecast. More tools, you can create shortcuts, clear browsing data, and developer tools is more of a high level. And then help, if you want to find out how to use Google Chrome and change it to suit your needs, it's in there. And then settings, then new tab, by the way, is just a new window will set up there. A new tab will be new window just means it'll open up Google Chrome all over again, whereas new tab, it means it'll open up a new one up here. Okay, and this one here then, settings, let's have a look. So yeah, you can turn off your syncing between your different accounts there, or you can have it all synced so that your common pages like my VS Where and my Schoology, etc., pops up when I open my computer. You can change your passwords and manage your account there. You can edit and change your bookmarks, just saved web pages that I might have been on that I liked. I don't want to forget, so you can add them as bookmarks. Yeah. This is another way of adding favorites to your bookmarks. Just click on that, bookmark this tab. Okay, and yeah, your profile, put a picture in like I have, etc. Okay, so that's browser. That's your browser, and the browser we mainly use is Google Chrome. But you'll also see another one called Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, and it depends what one you want to use. I prefer Google Chrome, but obviously it's up to yourselves which one you prefer. But we use a lot of the G Suite in school, so it just makes more sense for me anyway. Anytime you can customize what sort of information you're going to receive, more recent information or information from a particular time period. Okay, so that's good to know. By voice, yeah. If you click search by voice, that could be handy actually for students if you're maybe struggle with typing and what have you, and you want to verbalize it. What you can do is click microphone and type in what you're looking for, and it'll find it. Now you need to have a microphone set up with your computer. Sometimes you often have to plug in a microphone to your computer because they might have an inbuilt microphone on your PC. Just be aware of that. Obviously, you don't put your banking details when you're older up there in the internet anywhere either. That would be important too. Okay, so and use different passwords is another good technique, and use maybe authentication. Two-step is better than one because it's harder for hackers and that to get in then with that as well. If it gives you that option, certain websites. So, settings and advanced search. There it is. Okay, so you want to find page. So if you want to narrow down your search, because the internet, you just get too many files and different web pages back. So if you want to narrow it down, you give the exact words that are going to match up with what you're looking for. You can put in look for websites or web pages with any of these words. So Burmese would be Burmese cats, dogs. Whereas if you put in the word Burmese, it'd get everything. Whereas if you did exact Burmese dogs, it would only give you Burmese dogs, for example. If you wanted to find particular number ranges, etc., you can put them in there. If you want to find particular web pages with a particular language from a particular area, a particular file type, you just want HTML files to pop up. Okay, so yeah, it's saying when you put in those quotations, press the shift key that I was telling you about, and then the number 2. And Shift key as well often brings you to the symbol above the numbers there as well. It's just searching within quotes only finds results that include all those words in that specific order. Okay, searching without quotes populates results that include the words you type, but not necessarily in order you searched. Okay, so that could be handy if you want more specifics. And then number 4, then understand the structure of an email and be able to create, send, and receive email with consideration of security concerns and risks. Oh yeah, on that, when you're looking at web pages, a sign of a good website and web page would be when it's got padlocks and it has, let me type this in first, padlocks and it's got S at the end of it. That's what I was thinking about. So in order to see that, see there's a padlock there. That's a sign that it's a secure website, okay? Connection secure. Okay, that's what you want for your website. And when you're buying, oh, see that S at the end there? That's what I was looking for, HTTP, but there should be an S, that means secure. You shouldn't buy from a website that doesn't have that S on it and doesn't have a padlock beside it. Doesn't mean it's not secure. In other words, hackers can get into it a lot easier. So that's another thing to watch out for risks on the internet. Again, you can block by right-clicking. You can either move it to trash or find emails, move to, yeah, you can move them to spam or trash. Spam then will have them blocked for future feeds. So that's a handy one to know. If you want to archive your emails, put them for saving in long-term space, you can do it there. And if you want to move and create a folder for your emails that are organized, you can do it. Right-click and then create new subfolder. And that's what creates all these subfolders. Like I've created an important file for 2017, for example. I create that any other business file. And then, like the way I was showing you, right-click your emails and then you can move them into those folders. And that's great for organization. So just go in and you compose. Just be aware, I suppose, open that up. Okay, so you can send an email to someone here. If you want to copy someone, that means carbon copy. If you want to copy someone in the email, you can do it there. And then BCC, if you want to privately copy someone into your emails, you can do it there. Always put a subject on whatever it is you're sending. There's a topic. And again, you can use bold, italics, and headings within your emails as well. And if you do something wrong, you can undo there. If you want to add a file, that's very important. You can attach files by using that file that we're working off. So that's that file attached now. You make sure you put the name of the person in. If it's a Gmail one, it'll be at gmail.com. If it's Outlook, it'll have a different middle in the email. And some companies have .ie at the end of their emails because they're professional Irish emails. And then they can be .com at the end for worldwide website emails as well. With the company in the middle, and then .com. For example, our school is rather than gmail.com because it's created on a network through the school. Okay, so just be aware of that as well. So I suppose the other thing to note is if you wanted to put a link into your documents, that'd be important, or an image. Yeah, I suppose the link would be the more important one. So remember I showed you how to copy links from your Gdrive and your Gdocs, and they were green and open. So then all you do is you right click and paste in there where it says link to the web page. So you go Control V, for example, there, and it'll paste your link. Put a title on your link there. Yeah, and then click OK, and then your link will be in there as well. Okay, and then was there anything else in particular? Yeah, maybe look at the sent. So yeah, well, that's a handy one there in your Gmails. You can have a list of all the ones that are read or unread, starred, etc. You can see I have a lot of emails, 6,000 something of them. That's all set up because the amount of class I have and different groups and that. So, okay, and then let's see. Mark all is read. Yeah, if you've read them all, you can click that one. Cursor, I suppose, and block for moving your options up and down. That's what I was looking for there a minute ago because I wanted to show you that. So if you go into that little bar there and move it up and down, you can click on send, and then that'll send you to the emails that you've sent to other people. Okay, and let's see now. So drafts, if you want to save or if it hasn't sent properly, it'll end up in drafts, just you know that. And then you can have more of these or less of these kind of icons here as you wish. Okay, so hopefully that helps you on your emails and sending attachments, etc. Okay, now back in we go to the learning outcomes. So understand the structure of an email and be able to create and send and receive emails and consider the security risks. Well, just to make sure that you're sending to the right person, and that the email is like if it's a proper email, a .ie or .com, the company name, and you've maybe researched that on the web page to see is the correct email, just for security as well. Okay, so next, let's have a look here. The likes of the introduction to spreadsheets we won't do now, because we'll do that when we're doing spreadsheets. And I've done a different, I've done another teaching video on spreadsheets. For editing image software, that's using Photoshop. Depends what software you have on your computer. But we'll have a look at our own PCs, and whatever's available there, we'll show you how to edit a piece of a picture, etc. Okay, and just remind me to do that with you. And then demonstrating the ability to edit, enhance, and present a variety of information graphic. Yeah, well, that's just using loads of different types of software like Google Slides, Google Docs, Microsoft Publisher, maybe Prezi software. Yeah, and there's loads online that you can use. Websites as well, Weebly websites, Google sites, etc. I'm going to do it now. You click power, and then what you can do is shut down, or you can put it to sleep, which just means it's not using as much energy, but it's still on, and you'll need to press the on button again to get it going, or Control Alt and delete. But shutting down is at the end of the day. So when you're the last class of the day, you should shut down. But when you're moving between classes, you should just click on Control Alt delete and just switch user or sign out. Yeah, sign out is better because at least your password's not there. In most files, you've got a help option in most packages. You're just going to help, and anything you need help with, you can type in help, whatever you need there. Table. Okay, so when you type in the word table, for example, it'll give you loads of different options there. Insert a table of contents, insert table. So that'll be the one there. So sometimes more simple, you put it, the more stuff you'll find. So the other type of storage, just while I see that there as well, is you can put in an actual hard drive and connect it by the USB connection on your computer. And you can ask me in class, I'll show you where the USB connections are on the computers. There's about 3 of them. You put your keyboard and your mouse into 2 different ones. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 of them, and you can put in another, if there's another space left for a USB port, you can plug in a hard drive storage device. I might have one around here. I just have a black box about that size, and by that size, and it stores a lot of stuff off the PC as well, if you wanted to, videos or whatever you might want to not clog up your computer with. Okay, so that's that. And cloud storage we talked about, Gdrive and OneDrive. And you also have on your iPads, that's called Apple Cloud Storage as well. Just be aware of that Apple, basically you're saving up to Apple's web online storage area, yeah, to make it simple. Yeah, okay, thanks for your attention. Again, the advantage of doing these teaching recordings is that you can pause, you can rewind, you can replay. So, you know, it's handy if you want to go slower, or if you're forgetful, or you want to see a visual of it on your own with headphones in your own space, and being able to concentrate fully without being easily distracted. Then it's a very useful tool to complement you know, teaching and learning in the classroom. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, come to me in class and we'll help you. And yeah, okay, slán.